Mr. Michael, Social Studies teacher. This video is in two parts. The first part is the lecture slides. The second part is an explanation of the lecture slides. Part 1. Slides from the lecture notes. You can pause the video to complete your lecture notes outline. Part 2. Explanation of the lecture notes. Reforms of the Industrial Revolution. The philosophers of industrialization. Adam Smith's laissez-faire economics suggests minimal government interference. He proposed 3 laws of economics. Law of self-interest, which means that people work for their own personal gain. The law of competition forces people to make a better product. And the law of supply and demand. The law of supply and demand is a fundamental economic principle. It states that the availability of goods, supply, and desire for them, demand, determines the market price. Thomas Malthus argued that population growth would outpace food supply, leading to poverty and misery. David Ricardo suggested that an increase in population would result in a permanent poor underclass providing cheap labor. The rise of socialism. Utilitarianism, promoted by Bentham and Mill, is the idea that actions are right if they benefit the majority. It advocates judging actions and policies based on their usefulness for society. Utopianism is the belief in creating ideal societies. Robert Owen's New Harmony was an example of a utopian community, combining economic reforms and social welfare. He provided low-rent housing for his workers, forbade child labor and provided free schooling. Socialism is a system where the government owns and controls the factors of production. It aims to distribute wealth more equally and meet public needs according to the government. Marxism and radical socialism. The Communist Manifesto, by Marx and Engels, discusses the class struggle between the bourgeoisie, owner class, and proletariat, the worker class. Marx predicted that the proletariat would overthrow the bourgeoisie through revolution. This would eventually lead to a classless society with no private ownership. Differences between capitalism, socialism, and communism. In capitalism, individuals own property and businesses. Socialism involves community or government ownership for the public good. Communism is extreme socialism with no government, social classes, private property or businesses. Anarchism advocates for societies without government. Anarchists believe that government and laws oppress individual freedom. Labor unions and reform laws. Labor unions are organizations that represent workers. They use collective bargaining to negotiate for better wages and working conditions. Reform laws, such as maximum work hours and outlawing child labor, improved working conditions. The abolition of slavery was a major social reform. In Great Britain it was achieved through legislation and social movements. In the United States slavery came to an end after the Civil War. The women's rights movement fought for equal rights, such as voting and fair wages. It was a significant part of the broader social reform movement. Democratic reforms in Britain expanded voting rights and political participation. Which reform idea you think had the greatest impact on the world and why? Post your answer as a comment below for a chance to get extra credit on the quiz. Good luck on your assessment.